Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here with Midwest Market Management. It is Tuesday, August 5th. Riley, we're into a new month. Calendars rolling along. Corn pollination pushing right on along. Getting into a pretty critical period for soybeans. I know it's impossible to say this, or it seems impossible, and I'm in a little niche area of the world up here in northeast Wisconsin, and we've had all the rain that we could use all year long. But to be honest with you, it's starting to feel a little dry up here right now. I know that that's not probably a major growing concern right now. Um, and I believe that we got some rain coming in the a little bit of a dry spell here with some rain coming. Is that accurate?
Yep, we'll get into the maps here in a second, but there is some rain in the forecast for some areas, not very widespread and heavy, but this time of year, a little bit can go a long ways. But here, seeing and hearing similar things, talking to farmers here in central Iowa as well, guys aren't revved up to get a big rain, but starting to hear, wouldn't mind getting an inch or a half an inch or something like that. So definitely starting to have that idea creep in.
Yeah,
But
you just got to be careful what you wish for in 2025.
yeah, easily could go right back in the wrong direction there. So, but with that said, let's hop into crop conditions here that got released yesterday afternoon. Starting out, corn conditions left unchanged, 73%, good to excellent. Um, some small, down twos. I would say for this time of year, Iowa, Illinois seeing down in their numbers is very standard. Getting to the time of the year where stuff should start actually slowing down a little bit and conditions should decline. 9% drop in Texas, but I did see too that Texas harvest is already well underway, and they're saying it's already 25% complete.
Yep,
So
that would
not,
be in the south, down along Coastal Bend and whatnot. So, and then it's kind of like South America. It takes a while to get to the other end of the country.
yep. But for the crops down there that are being harvested, crop crops should be declining. So seeing a down 9% trend in Texas, I guess, is not shocking me by any means. Kansas being down 4 was the one move that I've found a little bit notable. They've had a lot more heat that we've talked about a couple times. So interesting to see if that's going to be a trend that continues as their crop declines and good to excellent. But on corn conditions, that's it. Moving forward into the silking progress, pretty much everywhere except for your northern states, the North Dakota, Wisconsin, Michigan, everywhere else upper 80s to 90 plus percent. Not really anything unordinary here. Everybody's either at average or ahead of average. So silking's not an issue. Corn in the doing stage, same thing, at a good pace. Denting too is ahead. So overall, corn maturity, I would say right now, Clint is right where it needs to be and moving along well. So moving over the bean side, bean conditions dropped 1%. Same similar thought to corn. It's just the time of year where beans are going to start showing a decline. Um, Southern states beginning harvest, so not a shock to see those some of those southern states down. Louisiana up 4 is very interesting. But the key states, Iowa down 2, Illinois down 2, North Dakota and Minnesota up 1 to 2, which I found that kind of interesting. A lot of guys talking about that wildfire smoke and that it's having some kind of effect on the crops, but you can't really say that we know about it until you know. It's more of a wait and see thing. If the maturity, maybe stuff slows down, I think would be the biggest impact by not getting in the sunlight. But overall, until we find out more, there's not really a whole lot to talk about there. In terms of setting pods, 2 states have kind of been behind on this, and South Dakota is the big one that's kind of interesting. Over 10% behind their average on setting pods for this time of year. So something worth watching there. I don't have the rhyme or reason behind it other than they've either had way too much heat or early in the year in the May timeframe they didn't have enough. So maybe a combination of both. Clint, if you have any insight to add to that, but we're not sitting here in South Dakota with that magic answer. So
No, I do not. It'd be interesting to poke around, see what some of the producers are thinking the cause is behind that.
yep. So moving into blooming progress, that's one thing that confuses me the most out of this. The setting pods is way behind in South Dakota, but then the blooming is right at average. So I guess I'm really puzzled as to why that is. But other than that, numbers pretty normal. Moving in here to the real weather side of things, next 1 to 5 days, Western Belt looking to heat up a little bit. Kansas, Nebraska seeing more heat. They're getting to the stage they really don't want to see that anymore, but it's just continuing to come. So
Yeah,
I would,
that's getting tough. That's getting pretty tough at a wrong period of time for soybeans here and corn pollination. It's not a very friendly environment, and there's a fair amount where you see the 97 degrees in the bottom in the south there, not far north of that's Wichita, and you go west out of Wichita. I mean, like that whole area, that's pretty productive, rich area.
yep. So definitely interesting to see. We'll see in next week's crop progress if they decline again, because they just, as I mentioned earlier, their corn took a 4% dip. So I'll see if that comes again. Moving into the 6 to 10 day, the heat backs off for them a little bit and gets a little bit warmer to the central and east. I'm seeing 6 to 10 day maps are showing above average temperatures for the eastern belt. These maps aren't showing quite as much of that, but everywhere other than the deep south in that 6 to 10 day, mid 80s to upper 80s. So not anything to cause a big issue there. But as you kind of mentioned in the beginning, Clint, the thought of guys wouldn't mind getting that, especially on the bean side, get that August rain to help make that bean crop, or corn as it's filling out. Just this is the time where corn wants the moisture the most. And we've had it all year, and got to be careful what we wish for. But some guys hoping to see a little bit more rain to really finish out the crop. Looking here, the last 2 weeks of rainfall. If you're in Iowa, evidently you did your rain dance really well, and in North Dakota. Upper half of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio got some solid rains too. That Indiana and Illinois region was really in need of some rains. So hearing some producers out that direction, it made a world of difference. So crops in that area starting to perk up and look better. Other than that, not really anything hot and fresh for news. Looking at the last 2 weeks of rainfall, a lot of spotty stuff to the west. Moving into the 1 to 5 day, Clint, you said there in Wisconsin you guys could use the little rain. Well, there's a chance for a nice little spotty one for you. We'll see if you actually get it or not. In Iowa, the northeast third of the state looks like it's going to be getting chances of spotty stuff as well. And then Minnesota and North Dakota, something similar. Other than that, the next 5 days look pretty dry. But as we flip the gear into this coming weekend and moving forward, there's more rain in the forecast. Iowa, Wisconsin, and basically the entire eastern belt has a chance for some spotty stuff. That western belt's staying a little bit drier, which is pretty standard. But like you and I mentioned, with Kansas, Nebraska, all that heat, could it be causing an impact on yield?
I would say that that's definitely going to start having an impact. How deep it gets is hard to say. How much, how deeply down are we rooted? How much, subsoil's down there for that to get at? A lot of questions I don't have the answer to, but 100 degrees, even in that neck of the woods, is hot, and it's dry. And if the wind's blowing, that's certainly just compounds the problem.
Yep. So putting everything together, the 1 to 13, when you take all the spotty stuff that's in the mix, forecast looks like there's a lot of green in there. The reality is a lot of that is looking like it could dissipate, except for that yellow cell that's coming through Iowa and Wisconsin that's supposed to hit Friday through Sunday is when that big cell's supposed to come through. But other than that, Clint, it's the time of year where, normally we can have some heat issues, and while we're seeing some there to the west, overall heat is not a corn corn belt and bean belt wide concern, and moisture wise, it has not been a year to be worried about drought. So,
Yeah.
Clint,
On
with
a
all that said,
marketing
weather looks
front,
good.
so we're talking, from a national yield perspective here, guys, and I want to talk a little bit about perception and market perception and how important that is. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is I feel like that we are moving into a period here where we're actually are going to do some damage to the national yield, maybe not in a massive way, but it's getting dry in some of these areas, and I just it feels like we could start shaving some yield here. But back to market perception, I just be cautious because I think we might even get a rally on this, but the rally will be significantly shorter lived and less stamina than a rally in June or July, because the fear of the unknown, even while you're shaving yield, you're not going to turn it into a catastrophe. So it's just going to be really hard to get a big run. So just be on your toes for a rally, and it's probably not going to be $1 in beans, but might be 40 or 50 cents.
Yep, definitely take advantage of any type of rally you can get, especially during this time of year. So,
yeah. So, all right, Riley. Well, I appreciate you putting the Marcus Weather Group maps together for us. Again, it's Tuesday, so we'll be back on here Thursday. Let you know how we're looking as we roll into the weekend. If you get a chance, check us out, MidwestMarketManagement.com. Love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.